Hello, how you doing? I'm Craig Parkinson. You are listening to the Two Shot Podcast. Sit yourself down, pop the kettle on. We're going to have a nice old chat. Who's it with this week? I'm going to tell you right now. How the devil are ya? Good week? Huh? Bad week? Indifferent? Well, look, just forget about all that for now. Grab your brew, put your feet up, do whatever you're doing, and focus on this, because it's episode 35 of the Two Shot Podcast, and this week we are joined by the Bard of Barnsley himself, that no one's calling him that. It's Mr. Shaun Dooley. Myself and producer Griff, we travelled to London. We met up with Shaun in Maison Berthaud. Big shout out to Tanya Wade for letting us use her space in her glorious French patisserie. If you haven't been, get yourself down to Greek Street. Tell them Craig sent you. Stuff a croissant on your face and have a brew there. It's a beautiful place to relax and people watch. So, there's one thing I've got to tell you. It's about Bath Festival. Are you coming to the Two Shot Podcast live at Bath Festival? Just Google bathfestivals.org, Two Shot Podcast, get your tickets. And if you stick around at the end, I'm going to tell you the two guests that are joining us in Bath. It's very exciting. Enough of that. Let's get down to this. It's episode 35 with Mr. Shaun Dooley. Enjoy. To my shame, I don't think I've ever been, or I've certainly got no recollection of ever being in Barnsley.
Have you not?
No, I don't think so.
Wow, and I've been to Blackpool so many times.
I'm so sorry
like
for
every
that.
year, club trip, every single
Club
year.
trip, what club trip?
Club trip.
With football, or?
No, with Working Men's Club. So
Right.
the club trip, you'd put in money every week, and then once a year you'd go on the club trip, which was to Blackpool. So every year my grandparents took me to Blackpool.
It was the place, wasn't it?
I loved it.
I loved it. I mean, I must admit, growing up there, it did kind of scare the shit out of me a lot. It did. There was a spate where people started getting the trainers necked. You just used to see these poor kids coming home just in the sodden feet, like with the best trainers on somebody else.
I loved it. We used to go, all the time. We used to go. Remember, there was a Doctor Who exhibition.
Yeah.
We used to go to that every year and see the lights every year. And I always remember my great grandma used to come with us. She always used to nick sugar. Every single restaurant, cafe we went in, she'd open a handbag and pour the sugar into a handbag.
Don't worry, we can carry on. Slight interruptions are all right.
It's my agent. I'm just checking.
I'm see what you're talking about. But I was Barnsley. I was growing up in Barnsley.
It was
I know you're fiercely proud of where you're from. I do know that.
Yeah,
even though I know we don't know each other particularly well.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Because we kind of feel like we do.
But I remember when I first met you a few weeks back, and I went, God, isn't it funny that our paths have never crossed?
It is really weird.
You would have thought that we would have at least met or worked together.
Even at auditions.
Yeah.
Man. We've never even done that.
No.
It's really odd.
But Barnsley.
Barnsley's, I don't know, it's funny because Barnsley, I am fiercely loyal to Barnsley and to the football club and everything like that. And I really feel that I am me because of that place. I really feel I'm a product of that upbringing in that place, I suppose. And I guess that there's a big fear in me to lose it would change me as a person. So I've always hung on to it in any way. I know I moved away, but when I moved away, you had to. Do you know what I mean? There was no when we first started. There was no. Yeah, you can self-tape from Newcastle, like my best mate does. Or you had to. We came to London, didn't we? That's where we had to come to. So, yeah, it's funny. Do
you ever find yourself at in certain situations or do's where you become more Yorkshire?
Yeah, I do. Often, I get really. My wife says you get really aggressive, and it's not. You know that kind of Geordie way where they go, "Do you want a cup of tea?"
Yeah,
and that you think they're going to kill you and they're just saying really nicely, "Would you like a cup of tea?"
Yeah,
that happens sometimes. It happens sometimes when if I get passionate about something and I want to really rev people up, I can sometimes come across as being really aggressive, like going, "Come on now, we can do this," and I get really broad. I get broader when I'm drunk. I get broader at football. Oh, yeah. But and the accent properly comes out. But our accent is, I mean, everybody in Barnsley now would just be like, I am so posh. I'm the poshest Barnsley person in the world at the minute. And it's because our accent is proper. It's proper these and thers and this'n and, and it's all, I read Shakespeare. I understand Shakespeare, not because I studied it, but because it just sounds like, where I'm from. It just, it's old English, you know what I mean? And we still use a lot of those words as well.
Well, I was in Sheffield a few weeks ago recording some episodes with some fiercely proud Sheffield men, and their accent is, because they never left Sheffield, really, is much, much stronger. But it's like when I go back to Blackpool, I do listen to myself when I'm, at the chippy or something like that. I'm going, I do sound quite posh. I better get back into it quick. So do you revert back into it when you go back up there? I
don't mean to. I think.
Do you think it just happens?
It comes out when I'm around my dad and mum, and I think it comes out when I'm not thinking about it and it's a bit passionate. So sometimes I'm on voiceovers and I'll get into it and I'll suddenly say a word and they'll go, what, and I'll change a word by mistake. Such as
too Yorkshire, Shaun. too northern. That.
What was that? What's a waistcoat? Sorry, you said waistcoat. Oh, yeah, that's a waistcoat. Yeah, sorry. I think the other day I said because we quite often say 9 while 5. So
sorry,
I'll be there 9 while 5.
Right. Okay. I guess you.
And so that still makes sense to me. So the American kind of 9 through 5 makes a little bit of sense to me. Mm. But so there's stuff like that will happen by accident, and it often happens if I'm really, really relaxed, so drunk, relaxed, or very tense at a Barnsley game, it comes out.
It does whenever my wife goes back to Northern Ireland, even for 48 hours, and I would speak to her on the phone. I generally sometimes go, "Who is this person on the other end of the line?" I mean,
who is that?
It is so boring. And I've got a very good mate from Greenock in Scotland.
Yeah.
And sometimes I go, please, just slow down or give me some subtitles because I've no idea what you're talking about.
I shouted at my boy the other day. He'd been winding me up all day, and then I just lost it and shouted at him. And I went, "Right, wind your neck in." And all the kids just stopped and looked at me and went, "What? What does that mean?"
But at least you got their attention.
Yeah, I got their attention. Yeah, just say something. Anybody listening to this, say something random to your kids with a shouty voice, and they'll just stop.
My wife says that to my boy. Wind your neck in.
Wind your neck in.
And she
it's
said
a great saying,
It is a great saying.
Because it does actually. It is.
I've had people say that to me.
Back, wind your neck in. Yeah, and when they say it really soft, and you go, "Oh God,
I'm in deepest, darkest trouble." Now.
That's the other thing I don't like as well. I used it on a character recently, but do you remember when? Old? It sounds really dodgy. When older guys, especially in pubs, just grab you at the back of the neck,
and
they just put that pressure on the back of your neck and just push you down slightly like this while they're talking to you, and it's like grabbing a dog by the scruff of the neck, and it really I hate that. I hate being. As a kid, I remember not as a kid, but like as a young man drinking, and somebody would come up and go, "All right, mate, hey, come here, let me have a word."
It's so
and you go,
aggressive.
"Oh God, get off me!"
Yeah, but also I used to hate when I used to see a couple, a man and a woman, and the bloke, the young lad. I'm talking about growing up in Blackpool now, and he would, instead of walking arm in arm or hand in hand, he would walk with his hand clasped around the neck, as if to say, "This is my property. This is my trophy." It is very, very aggressive.
It's horrible, isn't it?
I find that shit very, very dark. But we're not here to talk about
cul-de-sac.
You spoke about your mum and dad briefly there. How were they?
They were brilliant childhood sweethearts.
Were they?
Yeah, from like 12.
Wow.
It's quite, unusual these days, isn't it?
Never left Barnsley?
Never left Barnsley, no. Majority of, so my dad was one of 11,
Big family.
Yeah, they didn't move, and one moved away for a bit. My uncle Michael, and then a few of them moved slightly away, but pretty much in the close vicinity. And my dad was down the pits at 15.
Was he?
So he left school early, went straight down the pits. My granddad was down there, and my other granddad, and all my uncles, and so yeah. So my pit is the brassed off pit.
Right.
So that's my dad's pit. And mum, housewife, jobs here and there, different jobs, and then bringing up the kids, and yeah.
So it was you and your brother?
2 sisters.
Oh, 2 sisters?
2 sisters, yeah.
Older,
so I've got 2
younger?
sisters. Both younger.
So you're the oldest?
Yeah, I'm older brother, yeah. Steph 2 years below me, and Kim 10 years below me. She was a strike baby. She was an accident.
Was she?
Sorry, Kim, I know you know that. I know
You don't mean that. I don't mean it like that.
Great accent. But so she was born in the strike, which is incredible with her being born there. But so she's 10 years younger than me and my sister.
How was it growing up during that time, especially at that time?
I think that my wife...
What were your memories?
Well, I've got really... my memory's pretty awful as a kid. Apart from that time, I have real strong memories of that time. I remember things like going on the slag heaps with my dad and riddling for coal. So my dad had a big kind of riddle, and he'd made a smaller one for me. So you go on the slag heaps and you go through the night so that you weren't, chased off by local people who you knew with massive Alsatians that would set them on you because we weren't allowed to even forage in the waste of the pit. And they'd all be there, and all my dad and my dad's mates, and we'd all be there, and their sons would be there, and filling these wire meshed things, these riddles, and riddling it out, grabbing a couple of pieces of coal and trying to fill a bag. And I think we filled like just nearly a sack of coal we filled that night, but we took forever. And then I remember once we went into a forest, Dad, some of his mates, and we chopped a tree down and cut it up and brought. I mean, it was basically anything to keep you warm, do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But everything being repossessed. I remember because everything was on HP back then, and the telly being taken, the VHS player that was a pride and joy, and people coming around and removing everything from the house. I remember my dad was out and I was in with my mum and these guys, and I was cleaning my goldfish, George and Mildred, at the time.
Them were the days. Yeah, them were the days.
These guys came around, and they were. I remember them not being. They weren't nasty. They weren't, as you see on films. They kind of didn't really want to do the job, but
they had their job to do.
Yeah, I think they took the fridge or washing machine. No, washing machine. They took the washing machine. So lots of things like that. But I remember a massive sense of pride, though, as well. I remember even then I was 10. Even then thinking these men who I look up to are prepared to to stand by something they believe in and to stay to it and risk everything because they believe in this thing. And also, as well as that, to see my mum backing up my dad when, my mum's heavily pregnant, we've got no food coming in, we've got no money coming in whatsoever, we're scrounging to get eats and stuff like this. And to back up my dad, unquestioningly, which all the women did in our area, they all the women that were staying at home, housewives, they backed up, their husbands who believed in what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I remember the worst thing, and I'll try not to well up because I generally always do. I'm going to try not to, but it's on radio, so it doesn't matter. Nobody can see, so I didn't need to say that bit. So you could cut that out. We had Christmas Day, and Christmas Day was in a soup kitchen at the first school. I think it was at my first school where I used to go, and we all went to for Christmas Day dinner, and there was tables everywhere, and we sat around, and then we went up one by one to this food that had been laid on, just pots of food at this soup kitchen, and being doled out the food, and sat down, and we all ate, the entire community ate together, and then we went up for these presents, and these presents were sent over to us by the Russian miners. Somebody in Russia organised the Russian miners to collect presents for the British miners' kids.
Yeah.
They sent over these presents, and I remember because we had nothing, And it's funny now with Christmas just gone and my kids, and it's so hard, as you know, to kind of think what I had and what you're giving your kids. This whole thing, it's such a minefield of not knowing, give too much, don't hold back. Oh, it's just a minefield. But this particular Christmas, me and my sister, we went up to get our presents from these Russian miners. There was nothing else for us. We got one present each. She got a doll and I got a car. And I remember being totally overwhelmed by this toy car, basically a toy car.
Yeah.
Little toy car, not remote control, anything. It's a toy...
Like a corgi or
toy
something.
corgi car, basically. And I came back to my dad and I was just buzzing because of this toy I'd got. And I showed my dad and he cried. And it's the first time, I think it's either one of the two times or the only time I've ever seen my dad cry.
It doesn't happen often.
Was at this Christmas Day, 1984. It'll have been Christmas 1984. It'll have been, and I remember seeing that and just the weight of that. Beautifully, 20 years later, I met the guy who'd organised the Russian miners to send the presents. So
No way.
I met him at a rally for the NUM, and I met him and thanked him for this. You know, it's only such a. It's amazing because it's in some ways it's such a tiny thing, but back then when you connect that to me back there, huge, Craig.
Yeah.
I mean, massive, absolutely huge, and to come from a stranger in another country.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
But the support
beautiful thing
that had on your community.
Yeah.
That you were backed up by a group that you didn't
even know
at
and
that
will never
time.
know.
You'll never get
Yeah.
any sort of connection with really apart from this.
Yeah. But it was, and then brilliantly, this is a nice story as well. Though when my sister was going to be born, Mum went into the hospital, gave birth, and then social services, everybody came around to the house and said, we're not allowing you to take her home because you've got no way of heating the house, you've got no food, blah, 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 you've got all of these things. And so they threatened Mum and Dad with taking her into care.
Right.
You see, it's getting to me.
Getting
to me. So then the locals, not the locals, our neighbours, basically, they knew that we were told they were going to come around in a period of time in this week, and they came round, the neighbours, and they each put a bag of coal in our coal bunker and put it all in. And then my nan and granddad gave us some food, and friends gave us tins like this, and I think they were all marked and stuff like that, and everything went in. And Mum and Dad had said, we've got stuff together now, we've got enough. And they came round and looked and saw all this and went, yeah, okay, we can now let you bring your daughter home. We brought her home, and then everybody came round and collected their bag of coal, their tins, and went back. Which is a film I should make one day.
I don't know about you, I'm really going. That's just what an incredible sense of community.
Yeah, it was. It really, really was. It really was.
It worries me sometimes though that we lose things like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I question sometimes: are they from a certain place in time? And then some things happen, and I think, oh no, we haven't lost it.
Look at Grenville. I mean,
exactly.
I think it's in moments of great adversity that people forget about all the nonsense that we're fed all the time on the news and politics, and actually just see each other as human beings and just go, let's look out for each other. Yeah. I think when push comes to shove, and I think that's why I'll always be proud of Barnsley and where I'm from. I mean, we differ now on our views quite a lot,
of course,
on particular things, but that's bound to happen, and I've moved away and stuff, and seen the world, and so that was kind of growing up, really.
Been lucky enough to see the world doing what you do.
Totally,
I mean,
totally. Okay.
I remember when I first went to India, and I never wanted or even thought about going at all, and it was only because of doing what I do for a career that I was lucky enough to have my mind blown and everything open for me. Does that make sense?
Totally, 100%. It's the one thing I'm trying to give my kids all the time is just travel, see the world, see as much of the world, see as many new cultures as you can.
Learn. If it's not going, if you're not taking it from school, that's all right. That's not the be all and end all, because I've learned so much that those teachers couldn't even possibly fathom about trying to teach me. They wouldn't even have any idea.
Yeah. And I think there should be a thing. I think there should be a thing in schools where, you shouldn't be penalised if you're taking your kid out to go to a foreign country. No. I don't think you should be penalised at all, because I think what you were going to learn, bits of language you're going to learn, bits of different culture, art, everything, history of that culture, how they connect to you, how they're different. I think it's far more important than what you're going to learn in a week doing maths and geography.
Have you ever had to do that with your family? I mean, I know I'm jumping to the present now, and I do want to pop back, but have you had to do that with your family?
We've been honest every time and gone, right, we're going now, because obviously we live in a world where my kids are at, what's it called, normal schools, not private, state schools. Yeah. And so if we take them out too much, we get penalised, and our holidays are always at the peak time, so everything costs a million times more, and travel costs more, and everybody's allowed to put up their prices just to punish us because your kids are on holiday, which is disgusting. Yeah. So we just go to the school, and we'd sometimes take them out for a week or 2 weeks outside of some holidays and go, sorry, I'm working away. Shaun's in Budapest for a while. We're going to Budapest for 2 weeks with him. And we just go, and,
what will be, will be.
What will be, yeah, because I just think, I don't know, I think it's more important than it is. The kids come out there, we take them to museums, we take them to find out a bit about the history. They learn stuff. And
it's not like you're going to sit in a hotel room with the telly on,
absolutely,
room service.
Exact opposite of what you're going to do in Easter half term.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you just put the telly on.
Yeah. I totally 100% agree with you. I think that really is important for children.
Yeah.
Definitely. Speaking of children, we haven't discussed you at school. What were you like at school? I've got a picture in my mind about what I think you were like at school.
Very different. I was. Oh God! Nobody's ever asked me that. I was a lot smaller. I didn't grow till I was about 17, 18. So I was smaller. I was very slight frame. I had no shoulders. I was I was rubbish at football, which I love now.
Damn, you've already done.
No, mate, I was rubbish at football. I was always last picked football. That
was me.
I was destroy me, last picked, and that thing, that collective exhale when the group go, oh God, we've got him.
Yeah,
and that just feeling in your stomach of going, oh. And looking back now, I just think to the teachers, make me captain.
Yeah.
Next week, make me captain. Don't make the same kids captain who are the best at football.
Yeah, which they always did.
They weren't very good by then, I think, of spotting the things. So, yeah, I was slight. I was odd because I had a dream of what I wanted to be, and so I studied hard and all this kind of stuff. And
what was the dream?
I wanted to be a big animal vet.
Did you?
Yeah, I was desperate. Absolutely. I think I still am, really. I wanted
never
to...
too late.
Never too late.
Remember.
That role, when that role comes up, vet.
Yeah.
I was absolutely desperate to work with big wild... Anything that could kill me, I wanted to work with, basically.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. I had this thing.
We were watching lots of documentaries and stuff.
I used to. My dad. We used to watch documentaries with my dad and stuff. Lots of Attenborough stuff and all that. I think Attenborough might have been the hint, the connection to it, and just watching these things. But I adored animals. I had animal books everywhere, and I was a grade A GCSE student in my coursework, but not in exams, which is good to talk about in a bit. But so I was good in my courseworks, but because I wanted to be a vet, my parents had to force the school to let me take 3 sciences, because you only could do 2. So I could do chemistry, physics and biology, and we forced them, and eventually they relented because this was my dream. But because I was in the top set for GCSE, I wasn't allowed to take drama, because drama was for thick people, and drama was considered that's a GCSE for people who can't do anything else.
Yeah.
So they can get a GCSE in something.
Yeah.
So and I'd just done the school plays and stuff like that, and it's something I liked doing, but it was never a
proper passion.
No, because and also as well, it was never. the option to be a passion. That was just it's just something you messed about at. You did.
Yeah.
My parents did a
You
bit
couldn't
of
even possibly
amateur
do that for a
operatics.
career?
No,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, that's what the teacher said to me eventually.
Yeah.
And that world wasn't open to us, and I think still to this day I struggle with feeling that it's still not open to me, and I've definitely carried that weight of this is not for us.
Yeah.
I still carry that to this day.
Yeah.
And I still, I walk in first day of a rehearsal, especially in theatre, and I go, shouldn't be here.
Absolutely.
Especially in theatre. I sit down and quite often I hear voices that for me sound like they belong in the theatre, and I go, yeah, I shouldn't.
Better keep my mouth shut.
Yeah, I better keep quiet.
Yeah.
But I did these 3 GCSEs, and like I said, I was grade A course student, and then I'd get to these exams, and now we think I've probably got some kind of form of something or whatever, and I'd sit down in exams and I couldn't even pick up the pen.
Crumble.
Couldn't pick it up. I would look at the test exam, and I'd just sit there and I'd look out the window and I'd pick up the pen, I'd feel sick, I'd put it back down again. I used to revise and study like mad, and basically I failed all my GCSEs.
No way.
I got 1 C and 7 Ds. So, and all my exam work just dropped me down. So I got a C in maths and then no GCSEs, which consequently meant that it was done. That was it. There was nothing. And now I think about the options that I think could have been offered to me by my school, which weren't. I mean, this is a kid who wanted to be a vet, and then you remember the work placement you had to go on
Yes.
at school, and so I wanted to be a vet, work with animals, and my school sent me to a plumber's. I did 2 weeks as a plumber's mate, and you kind of go, why? So it's kind of like, bring it back, come on. Even that, you want to be a vet, come on.
That's not for you.
Plumber's mate.
Yeah.
And instead of sending me to a vet, something really easy like that. So interestingly, how I got then to get into acting and drama is that I came home from school having got my GCSEs and went to my dad. I remember my dad was on nights, and I came back to my dad and I had the piece of paper, and my dad knew how much it meant to me, and I went in and he was in the front garden, and I went up to him and I showed him the piece of paper, and I didn't even say out, and he went, come on. And he went to the garage and he bought me the year before out of the paper a golf bag, an old golf bag with, I think it was a wood iron, a 3 wood, a putting wedge, a sand and a 7 or something like that. It was like 4 clubs in this old bag, and he bought me through the paper, and he said, come on. And he grabbed the golf bag, put it in the back of the car, and drove me to a pitch and putt in Huddersfield. And we played 2 rounds of pitch and putt. We didn't mention it. We never talked about it. We just didn't discuss it at all. And it was the best, to this day, it was the best thing he could have done for me. Because had we discussed it, where do you go?
Yeah.
My entire dream was over, so there's nowhere to go from there.
Yeah.
It's done. And by not discussing it, it kind of just let it be there and ferment. And then by the time we'd finished, I'd lived with it for 2 hours. And so, I don't know, it was easier to kind of, just a little holiday from it in a way. It was really weird. But
God, your dad is a smart man.
my dad just, and instinctively, he was very good at dealing with me. My mum as well, was brilliant as well. But I guess as a boy and with your dad, he just, I don't know, he was, very clued up on stuff, I think.
Yeah. God, that's a real... I'm already thinking about, God, I'm going to take that as a lesson for me as a dad. That's, as a parent, that's a very smart thing to do.
Yeah, who would think of that?
I don't know.
Just do not, okay, let's just go to this for a bit.
Let's just
not talk about it.
Let's have some space.
Yeah, just leave it there. Put it away.
Yeah.
Amazing. But then what had happened is that I used to do Barnsley Youth Theatre during the week.
Oh, did you? So you did the extracurricular stuff?
Bits of youth theatre stuff, and I enjoyed it, and it was fun, and it was just something I liked doing, but it was never anything. And basically, this I wish to God I could go back and get these people's names, because I owe I think it was 3 of them from Barnsley Youth Theatre who ran it. I owe them, from then onwards, I owe them basically everything as far as I'm concerned. They knew I wanted to be a vet, and they knew it all failed. The next week I went in, it was a Thursday night or something, they sat me down and they said, right, we think you should become an actor. And I was like, that's stupid, don't be stupid. And they went, we honestly do, we think you've got makings of being one. And they went, we've already got you an audition at the sixth form college for your BTEC, to do a BTEC in it.
Yeah.
It's at this time, at this place, all written down for me. You need to go here. They handed me a copy of The Caretaker, I'd never seen before, with Aston's speech about electroshock therapy, folded down at the back, and went, read this, learn this speech, do this speech, and go in for this audition.
Oh my God, this is like just before your sister was born and they all came around and gave the food and the coal.
Absolutely, yeah. Same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I just went, this is stupid. There's no, this is not, you know. And I went back, and again we got another good dad story. Yeah? I went back to my dad and I said, look, this company think I should become an actor. They've set up this audition at the Electric Theatre for me. What do you reckon? And he went, because the pits, bear in mind the pits are about to close, fully Grindthorpe shut a couple of years after this. And my dad turned around and said, you're going to be unemployed, whatever you do. You may as well be unemployed doing something you love. And I went, oh, okay. Because I just, So
did you love it at that point, though?
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah. I enjoyed it and got a kick out of it, but I didn't have a passion for it. So, and I went, right, fair enough then. Because the pits, so there was no future for me to go down the pits. My dad didn't want me to go down the pit either, do you know what I mean? Because, it's a horrible job. Granddad died of black lung.
Bloody hard job.
My dad, really hard job. So I went for this audition. Yeah. And then consequently, because I was then heading down that route, exactly like you said, the teachers got me in and told me I was crazy and that there's no future in it, and how can you be so daft? You need to get a proper job. They then sent me for an army training thing, the school, to try and get me to head into the army, the careers advice. Went and did that, and there was a moment where I thought maybe this is something I should do, and then my mum just said, you couldn't take orders.
I have a problem with compliance.
So I went, oh, okay, yeah, maybe you're right. So there's a moment where, little kind of tiny moment, and then, so there was, what is, and I think about this a lot, because you meet people all the time who desperately loved it, always wanted it. It was always their dream to have this job, and it wasn't mine. So I kind of wish I'd wanted it to be mine early on, because I'd feel like I'd more achieved. I think probably a bit more than I believe I suppose. But the idea that without those people doing what they did in a very anti-Billy Elliot way, do you know what I mean? Or without my mum and dad going, go for it, why not?
What have you got to lose?
What have you got to lose? Just go for it. Without that backing, I don't know where I'd be today. I really, honestly, genuinely, I don't know who I would be, because I definitely wouldn't have gone into acting. That was my one and only chance, I believe, to come into this. I would have just got, just got a job, got a house.
We all need that support, and we all need someone to shine a light or open that door and go, do you know what?
Open the door. What about this?
I think this. Really? Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Oh, well, all right then. Why not?
Because what do you know at 16 years old? You don't know
nothing. You don't even know who
anything.
you are, do you? You're trying to figure out who you are and what you want.
Yeah. My boy's 13 and picking his GCSEs. He hasn't got a clue what he wants to do. He has no idea what he wants to do, and already he's trying to limit his scope of what he can do by deciding what GCSEs to take. It's horrific.
It's bonkers, isn't it?
It's bollocks. It's utter bollocks, because until you've gone out there and lived at all, or had some kind of life to decide what you want to do, these kids are leaving school, they ain't got a clue. They've gone to university just because you're supposed to go to university,
because that's what
racking up loads
says,
of debt because you're meant to do that, and then leaving having done a degree course in something they weren't really that interested in, and now start your life with 40 grand debt.
Now go go
get a job now.
But that's not who I am or what I do. Too late.
You
made those choices
at 13.
I was listening to the radio the other day and I was waiting to pick up my little boy from school. And I turned the radio on halfway through this news report, and there was some guy who was talking about how he wanted to change when teenagers started school, at what time they started. So in certain parts, in certain countries around the world, they start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
so they can sleep
and they
in.
work through till 7, because all he's seeing is this zombie apocalypse of young teenagers who are literally dragging themselves and their bags to school to be there for 8:45, 9 o'clock, whatever it is, and they're still half asleep for half the day, and it's doing a disservice to everybody. I thought it was something really interesting. And why hasn't that come up before?
We're behind on so many things, aren't we? I mean, they've realised that you know, we're not lazy. The teenagers not getting out of bed. It's because actually we need to sleep. They need to sleep longer. They need to sleep longer.
6-year-olds like that
because,
now.
Because they're growing in their sleep. They're, you know, their body's actually physically growing when they sleep. Their brains are growing.
And also, as teenagers, they're just changing.
Oh wow!
What's going on? You know what it was like?
Yeah. My boy just totally did Kevin and Perry.
Oh really?
Yeah. He came down when I went, "Oh God, I hate you."
He just
didn't
laughed
say
at
I hate you, but yeah. And you just laugh and just go, wow, it's just changed. I mean, basically, a lot of the time now with my boy, it's just vowels.
We've all been there.
Yeah,
we've all been there. So how was what happened at the end of the BTEC? Was that a 2-year or?
That was a 2-year BTEC in performing arts. That was some of the best training I ever had, I think. That was
I did the same one.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Brilliantly, I had to retake my English again.
Your English?
GCSE.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so I had to retake that to try and get
on
C.
the course?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I had 2 GCSEs. So, come from a kid who was aiming for 8, struggled to get 2. And brilliantly, the night before the GCSE exam, the English exam, I broke into because I was so nervous, I broke into the office, I'm sorry, Jenny, and stole the GCSE English paper and went home and worked on it all night. And then went in the next day, did it, and still got a C.
No! After all that planning and all that effort!
Still, C? Seriously? Yeah. So that was, how rubbish is that? It's like Ocean's 11, but shit.
But that says so much about you under exam pressure.
Yeah. Still went to bits. But got that. And, that's one of the things I want to say. But horrifically, that's what they're doing now with education. They're taking it all now towards
the
exam based. So any kids like me who are more practical or more think slightly differently, or hands-on kind of kids, are just going to do exactly what I did. They're going to be top students, and then they're going to drop because they can't get past this, this white piece of paper.
Which is what it is in that sterile environment.
Quiet,
sat in the rows
with a massive clock ticking.
Time starts now.
40 pieces.
Now.
I still would know.
If
you gave me anything now and went, okay, and you put a timer on me, I'd go,
yeah. But sometimes, I'm jumping forward now, but when we were first just starting out, that's what used to happen at auditions.
Yeah.
Okay, and perform
go
now.
Yeah.
Everything freezes. It's like almost like I don't know what you're like, but if I get my photograph taken on a stills camera, oh my God, the fear of
awful fear.
Everything is distorted and wrong, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and they go, look away, and then look back. I'm like, no,
that don't work for me. It don't work.
You're still there.
Yeah, you're supposed to disappear. But I know so many actors who absolutely hate that. But we digress. I digress anyway. Where do we go from the BTEC?
So 2 years BTEC. So the BTEC was amazing because I learnt all the backstage stuff. I learnt to be a techie. And it was the greatest training I think any actor could ever have. Because I learnt lighting.
You get from all sides,
everything, sound. I learnt how to do everything, and from that, in my career, has been a respect for people who did those jobs, because I had a little taste of it and I saw what you do, and so I've got massive respect for anybody behind the scenes.
And they've got just as much passion as people on stage or in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I mean, they care about what they do.
And they don't get the kind of plaudits of well done, you, or stopped in the street going, the lighting on that was incredible.
Yeah.
They never get that.
I know, it was a bit like when when the BAFTAs were the other week, and I've got a good friend of mine who's a stuntman, brilliant at what he does.
Yeah.
And he went, be nice to get some recognition.
Yeah. When is it going to happen? When is best stunts going to happen?
I think it's got to happen.
It's got to happen. It's
surely.
ridiculous. Yeah, it has to. It's just, when's best casting director going to happen?
Yeah.
Best
it's nice that it's happened at the Biffers.
And the Biffers,
I must admit,
yeah.
I mean, that should open the door there for a few other things.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Oh, wasn't she nice in that performance? And she was crying, or he was, like, dead angry. He just risked his life jumping off a building in that scene. Do you know what I mean?
Totally, yeah.
It's madness.
Totally.
So the BTEC gave you that respect and passion for all those people. It's brilliant. And I loved
it, and it made me just go. I then from there when I went to degree course, I started a theatre company, but because of that, knowing how to do everything. So the Electric Theatre for 2 years was unbelievably brilliant training, and also as well, because I'd lost, I lost a lot of my friends from school because I was different, and suddenly I was doing something not the normal thing to do. So I very much had to start again, really. Apart from my mate Daz Ward, really, I very much had to start again. And so my mates became my dad's mates. So I'd go drinking with my dad's pit mates.
Yeah.
So they became, so I learned to drink with 45, 50-year-old minors.
Hardcore.
That's when that wasn't good. So I was with them, and then started again at Lecky, as we called it. And I had 2 amazing years there. Grounding in this job was incredible. And then I went to, I auditioned for a few things. I auditioned for the Arden School of Theatre in Manchester, which was a degree course.
Yeah.
That was the last year where I just missed out on the last year when you could get a grant.
Right.
So I was the start of no grants for you, basically, for courses that weren't degree courses. And went down to RADA, auditioned. It cost me a fortune.
Yeah.
Went down, recalled, went down again, had to buy jazz shoes. So as you can imagine,
what are they?
18-year-old lad from Barnsley. I went in, and there's that dance shop on
St Martin's Lane.
St Martin's Lane.
That's where I went. Yeah.
Went there.
I felt so uncomfortable going in there.
Did you have to buy them as well?
Yeah, I had to go in when I was.
Makes kids do that.
17 on the cusp of 18. I had to walk in there, and I had a list of unbelievable.
Could I have a pair of look around, make sure nobody else is in who could see you? Jazz shoes.
Just look through the window. Right, it's clear. There's no one in there. Go, 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 go.
I mean, buying porn as a 15-year-old, a porn mag was easier than asking for a pair of jazz shoes. Honestly,
I always used to find the porn on the golf courses and on railway sidelines. Like the hedges. That's where people read porn.
And so I bought jazz shoes. And I remember, I think I used the £1 bus to get down, or £10 bus, I think it was, just to get down to save money. Did the second day, and I remember I was so listening to talk about the Barnsley coming out. I was just angry, and I had a proper chip on my shoulder, and all these people were stretching around me, and I hated them. And we had to go around in the corner and around in a circle and say who we were and where we were from and all this. And I'd spoken to a few of the lads prior to this, and each one had been really disdainful of me, really just not nice to me and cold to me. And like, I don't know.
It's got to rub you up the wrong way.
Made me feel that I shouldn't be there even more. And it gone round the room, and there was lots of, sorry to say this because it's inverted snobbery, but there were a lot of very well-mannered voices in that room, and he'd not be very nice to me. And it got to me, and he said, "Could you name it a little bit about yourself?" I said, "My name's Shaun. I'm from Barnsley. And before you ask, I ain't got to ferret down my trousers. And I don't walk a whippet."
Straight out with it.
Straight out. And I just thought,
before you start,
just have had enough.
I'm going to put up my shield.
Like 9 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, put it up.
Put my shield of defence right up.
Fuck you. Sorry, I don't swear.
No, we can swear. Say whatever we want.
And brilliantly, I think he was called Nick, the guy who was running it. He just suddenly went, "Tell me more." And I went, "Oh, hey." And then I got looks off everybody. He went, "Tell me some more. Tell me more things." And so I spoke a bit about it, and he asked questions and all this kind of stuff. So that was quite nice. And then I did my audition, which, So this is quite interesting. Sorry, I'm going backwards and forwards.
No. We can go anywhere we want, mate.
This is again a lot of my things that have happened in my life kind of have an odd full circle thing going on. So things that happened to me when younger. There's an amazing thing that happened to me over playing the piano. That things that come back and end up. A lot of kind of full circle things happen, and I totally forgot what I was saying. That's a full circle.
So we're at the audition, and Nick was saying that.
And I did a speech from Titus Andronicus,
right?
Which is still a part I want to play. Everybody goes, I want to play the Scottish King. I want to play Hamlet. I want to play Titus. I love Titus.
You've said it now.
And I've said it's on there.
It's on record. It's out there.
Let's do it. And the reason I did this speech from Audition was because I don't know if you remember on television there was a series of actor workshops on television for a while. And you had Michael Caine doing screen acting.
Brilliant.
In which he told you not to blink. Do you remember? It was like a cornflake packet saying just don't,
Mascara on you if you've got blonde eyelashes.
Breath freshener and all this. But Brian Cox did one about theatre acting, and he did this Titus Andronicus speech that I'd never seen before, never read, and I went, I'd never seen anything like it. It was on telly, and I was just like, this is incredible. I then read the play. I was going, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm only 17, so I've got no idea what any of this means, what the emotion behind any of it is. And then brilliantly, 7 years ago, so I worked with Brian Cox, and I was able to thank him and go, thank you, because your speech got me into drama school. Because without your speech, I wouldn't have done it, and so I love little things like that where I can then, that affected me 10 years ago or whatever, and thank you for doing that piece in the first place that did that.
What did he say when you said that?
He was really nice.
Was he all right about it?
Yeah, he went, oh, thank you for saying that. That's really nice to hear. He was
That's such a huge thing, though, Shaun, for that to happen, for you to say that. I think it's... I don't know how I'd respond if someone said that to me, or if someone said that to you, but that's a big thing, because you've opened that door for someone.
Yeah, totally.
So you got in?
No. I left my recall, got on the bus back, and then I think it was about 2 weeks later I got a phone call. It was on the Friday, I think. I was sat at home, no mobiles, you get a landline. Mum says, right, we're on the phone. It's like, oh my God. In the meantime, Arden School of Theatre, Wiley Longmore, beautiful actor, beautiful person. He had basically offered me a place, again with the Titus Andronicus speech.
Yeah.
Offered me a place, and I said, listen, I've got this recall at RADA, blah, blah. And he said, I'm going to hold your place for you. I'll hold your place.
Good man.
If you don't get in, come to me. Brilliantly. No airs and graces, no, you want to go with them.
Yeah.
Just matter of factly said, okay, I'll hold it for you. And then this Friday there's a phone call from RADA, and still to this day they say they've never done this to anybody, but they phoned me and said, we're about to offer you a place. I was like, Mum and Dad were sat in the room. I was like, and they went, but we've been in contact with your council and they won't give you a grant, so they won't offer a grant for this course at RADA. So have you got any means of, can you pay? Have you got parents? Have you got any means of funding? And I said, no, my dad's pit's shutting. It's about to be closed. I said, I haven't got anything like that, but it's fine. I'll work. I'll graft. I've got a job at minute anyway. I'll graft. I'll have a job at the evening. I'll have a job at weekend. It's not a problem. I'm a grafter.
Yeah.
I like work. I said, it is not a problem. I will beg, steal, borrow. This is brilliant. You don't have to worry about me at all. I will fund all this. It will be fine. Okay, brilliant, thank you. And I got a no 4 days later in the post.
You didn't?
Yeah. And, another one of those times where you just go, seriously.
That's awful.
That's awful, isn't it?
Shaun.
It's awful, yeah. They still say they've never... I remember...
Did they deny that?
Well, I've never denied it directly to my face, but I read an article about 4 or 5 years ago that said we've never let anybody go because of financial things, but unless suddenly they thought I was a shit actor in the interim between phoning me up and posting the letter.
Well, they might say that, of course, to cover their backs.
Yeah. But that's
truly
that's the truth of
awful.
Yeah, that wasn't good. And so then I went.
That makes me so angry, because it ceases to become about nurturing someone's talent and about financial gain.
Yeah.
And that is
which is
absolutely one of the ugliest things.
Yeah. especially when you've got a kid, looking back now and as a dad looking back, especially when you've got a kid who you obviously at that time thought had something.
Yeah.
And then to let that slip so easily.
Yeah.
To not give it another go and just go, okay, why don't you come down, let's have a look at the options. What could we do to make this work?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh God, that's made me really angry, sorry. So you're off to Manchester then?
So I went to Manchester, and with Wiley as kind of my inspiration, who always he set up Arden School of Theatre and ran it, but because it was a degree course, I could get a grant, so I got a grant for my degree course, and he instilled in us this thing of not waiting for somebody to knock on the door, and to always going up, knocking the door yourself.
Yeah.
I really instilled that in us, and I formed my own theatre company, and because at that time then I thought I wanted to become a director.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So it was nice because I was playing great parts. I was playing a lot of the lead parts and Oedipus and all this kind of stuff as you're doing.
The heavy stuff.
The heavy stuff, yeah. But I wanted to be a director. Directed a couple of shows in Manchester. Did a really big show, and then lost my bottle with the theatre company. And then I had this thing where I thought I'd be a better director if I'd experienced life as an actor, and everything that was going to be asked of me, then it would give me a knowledge that I could then use as a director.
Yeah.
And then, fortunately, it kind of worked as an actor and kept paying the bills. And it's like, am I really going to go and do that for no money? Is
that something that's still in you now? Then,
yeah, absolutely is. Yeah.
Absolutely something you want to do.
100%. Yeah.
Really,
it's just a case of having the guts to do it. And I keep looking at plays and thinking I should just put this on. I've got a film I've written that I want to direct next year. So it's all, there's lots of that kind of thing. But life, my wife, who's incredibly supportive, would hate me for saying it because she'd support me in doing, like my mum with my dad would support me in anything I decided to do any venture, and would make it work with me because she's amazing. But still inside me, I'm that Barnsley kid who's going, you can't risk that. You can't risk this for that. You can't risk a nothing for that, especially when you've got, a mortgage and
family,
4 kids.
Yeah.
So you've got to, you graft, you earn your money, take it home and have a pint on Friday night.
Sometimes you've got to take that leap though, haven't you?
Yeah. So Arden was good. It was really brilliant.
Was it a 3-year?
3-year degree course. Did that. So I got a degree, no GCSEs, but a degree.
Come out with a degree. Bang on.
Came out with a degree, and met some lovely people and things like this. But I left the thing you have to do to get an agent. The
showcase.
The showcase.
Oh yeah.
So we did London, and we did London and Manchester, and for some reason at the showcase, everybody just was like, he's the worst actor that's ever existed. It was awful, Craig. Really awful. I remember one agent, I was talking to her, and another actor, one of my friends came up and walked past, and she just turned her back on me and started talking to Martin, was his name. Oh. And I was like, oh.
Crush.
I remember being there, and I left drama college. It's infamous at my college that I left drama college. I was the only person in my year who didn't have an agent, and everybody left with an agent except me. So,
do you think there's any link to something like a showcase and your exams?
Do you know what?
Do you know what I mean?
Possibly.
About that pressure.
Possibly.
Right.
Yeah,
let's do this because this is the shot.
I've never thought about that. Quite possibly, yeah. Because I don't know how I was in those performances. I've no idea. But
that's not for us to judge.
Yeah. But everybody, so it's quite famous. It's not famous, but I mean, it's quite.
It is in your world.
In my head. This thing that I'm one of the few that's still working, but the only one to leave without an agent. So
where do you go from there?
Well, so I left going, it was another kind of, all right, this is done. This is finished. Let's,
Is it back to Yorkshire?
Yeah, sack it off. So I was carpet fitter with my mate Jim, and we were just carpet. We were kind of up at 5 in the morning and done by about 1 o'clock, I think.
Yeah.
Because we'd do all the prep on the houses and stuff. And I then, because you had to have the equity card, which I wish we could go back to. I really wish, not because of the closed shop thing, but just that pure thing of I had to prove that I was an actor, and I had to prove that I was an actor by work, by graft.
Yeah.
So I had to earn the right to say I was an actor.
Yeah.
And which is missing now because you can just leave and just go, oh, an actor, which distills it. But what I had to do is I had to go, right, okay, if I still want to be an actor, I've got to get my equity card. I had a provisional because of drama college, but I had to get an equity card. So I went off and I did a production of Blue Remembered Hills in the Dales, which I think was seen by about 40 people over a 2-week run. But it went towards my equity card, that.
Yeah.
So I did that in the Yorkshire Dales, a promenade production of it. Loved it.
What was the thing back when we were doing this? Where how many productions did you have to do? Or was it hours?
Wasn't it? Hours or months. I think it was a particular amount of time.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. So you got your provisional. I got my one at
you've got your provisional driving licence. All you want is your full to get on the road and drive.
Then go, I'm an actor.
Yeah,
you're not working, but at least I just
see that you read that
milestone.
Yeah,
and I got it, and I can officially say this is what I've done. And then the next bit, which again is akin to my 2 years at BTEC, I then did a 6-month TIE tour,
right,
of England and Scotland, and again it's one of those tours where very legs akimbo from League of Gentlemen, but it was brilliant training, working with kids, improvising, set up your own lights. Get in a car.
All that stage management stuff's coming into play now.
Do all the stage management, set it up. Things go wrong, fix it. The car breaks down, fix the car. And luckily, my dad had taught me how to fix cars, so I could do that. And it was just lovely. It was 6 months of touring the whole of England and Scotland and doing your own thing and setting it up, and then so that went towards my card and got my card, which then I got an agent, because then the guy who ran the TIE, his agent took me on. So, and then got me nothing, but anyway.
But still, we're going in the right direction.
So I have this thing that which I kind of look at my career like I've kind of gone up every step of the ladder on the rung.
Yeah.
I kind of missed out any. I've never done any big jumps to a fourth or fifth rung. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've kind of hit every rung going up, which I'm hoping leads to a long career as opposed to a. Well,
I truly believe it will. I mean, and also the great thing about what you've done, especially, is you're learning as you go along.
Totally.
And therefore, to be on that fourth rung, you've earned. You feel as a person and as a human, that you've earned your place on that fourth rung.
You've gone through the ranks.
You go exactly. You go through the ranks.
Yeah.
And did you feel now a real passion for it?
Yeah.
Did you feel this was a need? This is something that you really needed to do now.
It, and especially theatre. It was all about theatre. I wanted to be Branagh.
Did you?
Again, when I worked with him, I told him.
Did you?
I wanted to be Ken Branagh. I wanted my own theatre company. I wanted to do the things he did. I wanted to. I don't know. It was all theatre based back then. Because we didn't have any telly training. I think we had a day's telly training on my degree course. We had a day.
It's a few hours.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's changed now.
It's got to change.
It must have changed.
But it was definitely a theatre training. I remember Wiley once saying to me in the first year of Arden, he said, "Oh," and I tried to be knowledgeable, and he said, "Oh, Shaun, cheek by jowl, Royal Exchange, you need to go." And I went, "Oh yeah, I know. I'm a big fan of that play. I've read it." And he went, "Well," I said, "I've read it. It's a great. It's a great
classic. That
it's
one.
It's a great play."
No, the theatre company.
It's a bit like when I went for an audition at this open air theatre, and I thought the audition was for a play about rugby lads called The Changing Room.
Right.
And it was actually The Changeling. And I'd got the information wrong and read the wrong play. I understood why they wanted to for a rugby player, but not the changeling.
You should be in a rugby play to make that happen. Titus and Jonathan in a rugby play, double bill.
Double bill. Matinee evening.
Because, you've said, and I know that you have gone through the ranks, as we would say. But how do you deal with when you're stalled, you can't get up to the next one, or things aren't coming in, or work is not there? Because that's not only is that hard for us, and certainly for anybody as human beings, but you've got bills to pay, you've got family, and
do you know what? I'm incredibly lucky. It ties back to Barnsley in many ways. I'm incredibly lucky that I've randomly got a voiceover career.
Yeah.
That just happened, really. And don't get me wrong, I work hard at the voiceovers. A lot of people don't even watch them. I watch the documentary, I work on it, I work on the script, and I go in and I kind of graft even at a documentary, because I believe you should have respect for the project you're working on. But let's be honest about it. The reason I've got a voiceover career is down to a lot of things that have nothing to do with me. It's down to where my voice sits, down to where my accent is, from where I grew up, from where I've travelled that have affected my voice and changed it and everything like that, and also then down to the fact that for some reason people like the sound of it. All those things, had I been from somewhere else, potentially I might not now have.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really aware of that. And no matter how much hard work I put in, I'm really aware that the reason I have that is a collective of lots of different things that were out of my control. So for the last 7 or 8 years, I suppose, because I've had the voiceovers to fall back on, and the pressure's been really off for me. I've just had and I like talking about it, because a lot of people go, you're never out of work, you are never out of work, blah, 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 And I like talking about this because it's nice for us. We never talk about being out of work, because
we do on this podcast.
Brilliant.
It's all about.
I think it's important
because
it's honest, and then everybody out there who's sat there going, "Oh God, they're always in work." They go, "Oh my God, it is. It's normal." Do you know what I mean? So I finished Gunpowder, and then I was out of work to the day almost 8 months, and nothing at all for 8 months, and just going, this is it,
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I wasn't getting auditions, I was getting auditions and getting no's.
Yeah.
And every time the worst thing for me, and I know I've gone a bit forward, I'll come back, but the worst thing for me is going into an audition and feeling like you have to start again. And no matter how long I've got a ridiculously long CV, and to go in and people go, "What have you been up to?" And you go,
"Don't ask me that.
Listen, come on, let's just
cut the shit.
Let's just do the piece, and if you want to work with me, work with me. If not. And I find it really hard that every time, and it must be I think it's the only job I can think of where you are judged quite a lot on a meeting, as opposed to, or on your very last piece of work, as opposed to your career. And if you had a builder if we were builders that had predominantly for 25 years turned up, grafted, done the work they're supposed to have done, left a really good job, left the house nice and tidy, and done your job that you're meant to do, we'd be wall to wall employed.
Yeah.
But because we're who we are,
yeah.
Every time you then finish a job, you feel you start again, right at the very bottom, and you can play the lead in something. You play a massive part in Gunpowder. Then 3 weeks after it's been on, you get a phone call for 2 lines in a massive series, which is what happened to me.
Yeah.
And would I come in and audition for 2 lines in a new 6-part series?
And what do you say when things like that come in?
I told my agent it's time to fuck off.
Yeah. And quite right so.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that in the past. I would have gone up for it and met. But now I'm older, I kind of feel a little bit like, you know what, you've got to now... You can't take the piss like that. You can't, I wouldn't, you wouldn't, again, to the builder analogy, I wouldn't then go to him and go, hey, mate, you just did that loft for me, really nice, beautiful loft extension, and restored that 17th century church for me. I've got a shelf that needs putting up. would you come and put this shelf up for me?
That is a perfect.
Because that builder's going to say, I've just restored that 17th century chapel for you.
Yeah.
You want me to do this? You now want me to do a shelf? No. Get somebody else. Get somebody who's just come out to do a shelf. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or and I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit too brusque or brussing.
I really don't think you are. I really don't think you are. I think it happens all the time.
Yeah, I think it's...
Because not only do we have to have that fact that when we do start a new job on that first day, it is like the first day of school.
Totally. Every single time.
I know that everybody in that room, even some of the biggest names, are shitting it.
Yeah,
and
totally.
They're nervous and they want to try and do the best that they can and get on. But it is like starting the first day. So again, and going into that audition room, I'm just joking around. Again, I think I've got to go back to the exam room situation with you.
Yeah.
It's like we're told to do that at that point.
Yeah. And it's all or nothing. It is all. It does feel like, don't cock this up. This is your chance. And especially, the worst thing is when it's a project that you really love.
I know.
Or you've read and you go, I really desperately want to do this. And I'm the first person in the world who will go, if I see somebody better than me get it, I will go, totally brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah.
Better than me, bang on. They should have it. That's absolutely. And I feel better if somebody I like
not
gets
better,
it,
but certainly more suited, or something.
Yeah.
I'm not.
There's
sure
nothing better. There's nothing better than believing somebody made the right choice, or it's it's somebody that whose work you respect and like and you enjoy. And
you always go. Well, I certainly do. Go. Well, at least it was A, B, or C because I love them. And if I was directing, I'd cast them well over me any day of the week.
And brilliant. When you see them in a series, you go, they're on a series for 9 months. Brilliant. They're taking it.
I'm getting in.
Yeah. So I do think it's good to talk about being unemployed and all that.
It's about how you deal with it as well, because
I used to drop into depths of awfulness and just. I think what's hard is that it's impossible to not take personally, no matter how long you've been doing it. It's impossible not to take a no as you not being good enough.
Yeah.
And no matter if they come back and they say it's wrong, whatever, and that they've moved on,
it's not you.
Still go, And the worst is when you get the notes back saying, "Loved you, thought you were amazing." Because now I've said to them, just say yes or no.
Don't finish the sentence if you're going to say that.
All I want to hear, I just want to hear yes or no, and then I can move on. And
how do you feel with not hearing?
I think it's the rudest thing in the world.
So you've worked. You've worked for possibly 48 hours, in advance on something you've learnt could be any amounts of dialogue.
Yeah.
So you've put your work in there. Yeah. You go in. You do the best that you can possibly do, and also what you've thought would be right, and show what you can bring.
Yeah.
And your instincts to this character. You've done that. Work's gone in. Nothing back.
Nothing.
Not even a no.
And then 3 weeks later, you phone in your agent. Have we heard anything about that? I'll chase them. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's a no.
But what about when you don't? When you genuinely
don't ever hear it until you see it on the telly?
Ever hear?
Yeah. I've had quite a few of them. What upsets me the most is that you've taken time away from being with your kids.
Yeah.
You've taken time away from doing the mundane stuff or whatever,
cooking
time away
the
from
tea,
your family, cooking the tea, bath time, all these things, and you've worked and you've grafted on it. And I think what's often not thought about is that when you get an audition and the pages are getting more and more and more now, aren't
which
they, for
they
auditions?
Are.
And they take longer to learn, and you spend a long time. You put a lot of time in to getting a job that inside you think, I'm probably not going to get this.
It doesn't matter because you're representing who you are as an artist. And you have to go, well,
you've still got to be.
If I don't put this work in now and I go into that room, the one thing they'll remember is that I was shit.
Yeah.
Or it looked even worse. It looked that I didn't care about what I'm going to represent.
Yeah.
And I do not want that.
Yeah. No, it's our own stuff that's on display, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. It always is.
And it's taped and it's there somewhere and it's out there. And
yeah.
No, I don't think there's a better way of doing it. I can't think of a better way of doing it. I sometimes like self-tapes and I dislike them. It causes an argument every time we do it at home because obviously I don't phone up mates, but I get my wife.
What? You've been around my house? That sounds like what's going on with me, Sean?
Can we do self-tape? Oh, all right. The kids come down all the time.
But I understand what you mean there, because even though there's more and more with self-taping now, in a way, I'm 100% invested.
In control, and
but I have a complete control about what takes we use, and in an industry of no control, certainly what we have. Yeah. This is some sort of control. But I'm willing to leave it and throw it away a bit more, self-tape. And I don't know why.
I am as well. I think you're slightly less invested in it as well, aren't you?
Why is that, though? Because we work just as hard.
Yeah.
But we're not going in.
Do you know what I think? I think it is that you go in a room. You go in a room and you sit down opposite someone. I've just had it for an audition, and you make a connection with somebody across the table, and they say something to you that you'd not thought about, and you get excited because you suddenly get everything starts to come alive again, and all the muscles that have sat dormant for 8 months, you start to go, this guy's asking me to do something I've done in a while, and you go, come on, and you start to get animated. I do, and I go, I just worked with this one director on an audition, and I came out of the audition like I'd done a week's run of a play. I came out just going, I don't care if I get it or not, because that was brilliant, and it's made me feel. It's funny, isn't it? Because I know the Americans say we've got a different culture. I mean, Americans, they'll go to courses and they'll go, training things, and we just don't. We leave drama college and we go done, and we see it almost like a stepping back if you've got to go back and suddenly do a course in something. But there is something to be said, I think, for changing our attitudes towards that and regularly keeping up to date with the stuff, really.
Well, because everything's changing around us.
Yeah,
and
totally.
We're now not the 20-year-olds.
No, I
know. We're not that anymore.
I know.
But you know what? I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm all right with that now.
Sean,
good.
Thank you so much, man.
Brilliant, mate.
And there we go. The episode where one probation worker met another probation worker. What a sound geezer Shaun Dooley is. Shaun, if you're listening, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being you and being open and honest. It still baffles me. Not baffles me. I suppose it's quite a big ask, I think, to come on and be open and honest and not put on a version of yourself, just be you and talk about your personal life and your bloody hopes and your worries and your fears and laying it all bare to be documented. It is a big ask, but people do it. And, it's been said before by a few of our guests, they feel like it's some sort of creative therapy. I don't know, but whatever it is, we love doing it and we love having brilliant guests on. So thanks to all our guests that have been on so far. Now, speaking of guests, I was going to tell you who our guests are for Bath Festival in May. Now, if you've got tickets, brilliant. If you were thinking, Craig, I'm not sure if I want to travel to Bath and get the ticket, if you're not going to tell me who it is, well, don't worry. I'm going to tell you right now. If I tell you they're a brother and sister writing and acting combo, right? They're in BBC's acclaimed This Country. Are you with me? It's Charlie and Daisy May Cooper joining us for the Two Shot podcast live at Bath Festivals. It's going to be absolutely brilliant. I'm so excited they're on. I'm a big fan of the show. I'm a big fan of them. And we're going to get down to it. We're going to have a right good natter. So go to bathfestivals.org, grab your tickets quick because it is going to sell out. And that is it. That is episode 35 with Mr. Shaun Dooley done. So until next week, thank you so much for joining us. And you know where to find us, don't you? We're on Twitter at 2shotpod. We're on Facebook, Instagram at 2shotpod. If you want to get in touch, drop us an email there. Oh no, drop us an email at 2shotpod. No, why do I always get this wrong? Honestly, I think producer Griff thinks I'm doing this on purpose, and I'm really not. I always forget the email. It's 2shotpod@gmail.com. That's where we get the emails. Send them. We love hearing from you. And until next week, I've been Craig Parkinson. He's been producer Griff. And this has been the 2-Shot Podcast. Thanks so much for listening. You take care. The 2-Shot Podcast is presented by me, Craig Parkinson, recorded and produced by Thomas Griffin for Splicing Block. Our brilliant music is courtesy of Then Thickens. Cheers.